Hello, this is a video on reported questions for students of Bachillerato. There are typically two types of questions in English: yes-no questions and WH questions. Yes-no questions are questions which are answered with a yes or no. For example, did you speak to John last night? Is a yes-no question because the answer would be yes, I did, no, I didn't. WH questions are questions which start with a WH element or word, such as what, when, where, as in the example, where did you go last summer? Here the answer is the place where you went last summer. We have to bear this in mind because each one of these will take a grammar structure when going from direct speech to reported speech. The most typical reporting verb for questions is ask, but there are others that we also have to use and learn, such as inquire, wonder, would like to know, or want to know. It is important to remember that in indirect speech, there is no change in the word order between subject and verb. It takes the typical statement word order. This is subject plus verb, so there is no inversion. Backshift, this is a change in tense, applies also here when going from direct to reported speech. We have to be careful with the auxiliary verbs do and did that appear in direct questions, because unless the questions are negative, we won't have them in the reported question. The rest of changes in pronouns, possessives, time expressions, and dative words apply here too, just like in reported statements. So we have this example. Do you need this ruler now? This is a question in the present simple. We need the word do, the auxiliary verb do, to ask the question in the present. We have the typical word order for direct questions: do, subject, verb, and then we have the rest of the complements or words in the sentence. So, do you need this ruler too? She asked me if I needed. So the present simple becomes a past simple because there is backshift. The auxiliary verb disappears and we put the subject before, we place the subject before the verb. If I needed, and then the rest of changes, this becomes that, and then becomes, and now becomes then. So, do you need this ruler now? She asked me if I needed that ruler then. Let's start with reported yes-no questions. To report a yes-no question, we need an if clause or a whether clause. If or whether, they mean si in Spanish. So it is a subordinate clause, a subordinate noun clause introduced by the word if or whether, either one, and then the rest of the sentence with the subject and the verb in the tense that corresponds. So, for example, are you working these days? He inquired. Here we have a yes-no question in the present continuous that would be reported as he inquired if I was working those days. So the present continuous becomes a past continuous. The word order is subject plus verb. If I was working. In the direct question is, are you working? And here it is, I was working. And this becomes those. He inquired if I was working those days. If we use the correlative word or, we must use whether or. For example, would you like tea or coffee? He asked me. He asked me whether I would like tea or coffee. Here we have a correlation between whether and or. Reported WH questions. When we report a WH question, we use a WH clause. This is a noun clause introduced by a WH word. We must repeat the WH word in the question, in the reported question. Okay, so who told you this story, he asked. He asked who, and then the rest of changes. He asked who had told us that story, or who had told me that story. Another example, where did you go last summer? He asked. He asked me where I had gone the summer before, or the previous summer. So, remember to repeat the WH word. And okay, now this is the time for you to do it. Do you understand me? The teacher asked us. So the teacher asked us if, because it is a yes-no question, if or whether we understood him or her. The teacher asked us whether we understood her or him. So here, we don't know if the teacher is a man or a woman. We can say understood him or her. The teacher asked us if, and you is we, because the teacher asked us. So the teacher asked us if we understood him or her. Another example. Will it rain tomorrow? He wanted to know. This is a question in the future. It's a yes-no question in the future. So he wanted to know if or whether it would rain the following day. It would rain. Remember to use the subject before the verb. There is no subject-verb inversion. Will becomes would. So again, he wanted to know if it would rain the following day or the day after. One more example. Have you been ill? My friend wondered. My friend wondered if I had been ill. Did she go to your party last night? She asked Peter. So she asked Peter if she, we don't know who she is, so she asked Peter if she had gone to his party the night before or the previous night. So did she go to your party? Your is Peter's party, yes? In this sentence, she asked Peter if she, another girl, the question is in the past simple, so we have to go into the past perfect. If she had gone to his party, Peter's party, the previous night. She asked Peter if she had gone to his party the night before. How are you going to pay? The cashier asked me. Here we have the expression be going to with the verb be in the present. And it is a WH question. So the cashier asked me how I was going to pay. The infinitives don't change. So are you going becomes I was going to pay. The cashier asked me how I was going to pay. When do you have to go? I asked my mom. So what did I ask my mom? I asked my mom when she had to go. Yes? So do you have is present when, so that becomes a past when she had to go. How many people had visited the exhibition? I wondered. I wondered how many people had visited the exhibition. No change here because how many people is the subject that comes before the verb. The verb is in the past perfect and it doesn't change into anything. It stays the same. So I wondered how many people had visited the exhibition. Easy, yes? Who did you visit last summer? I asked my friend. So what did I ask my friend? I asked my friend who he or she had visited the summer before or the previous summer. Yes, again, I asked my friend who. My friend, I am asking my friend, did you visit? So my friend is, if it's a boy, who he. If it's a girl, who she. The past simple becomes a past perfect, who she had visited the previous summer or the summer before. I asked my friend who he had visited the previous summer. Again, I asked my friend who she had visited the previous summer. Is correct too. And I hope this can help you. Enjoy it.